Excellences, distingués délégués, je déclare ouverte la 24e session de l'Assemblée des États parties au statut de Rome de la Cour pénale internationale. C'est un honneur et un privilège pour moi de vous souhaiter à tous la bienvenue à cette session de l'Assemblée. Notre ordre du jour est ambitieux. Nous tiendrons des discussions approfondies sur les sujets fondamentaux de la coopération et non-coopération. Nous examinerons et adopterons le budget pour le prochain exercice financier. Nous procéderons à l'élection de membres d'organes importants, à savoir le comité du budget et des finances et le conseil d'administration fonds d'affectation spéciale au profit des victimes. Je suis convaincue que l'Assemblée accomplira tous ses devoirs de manière responsable et en temps voulu. Avant de continuer, je vous invite à vous lever et à observer une minute de silence consacrée à la prière ou à la méditation, notamment pour les victimes. Je vous remercie. Before turning to the substantive issues, I would like to provide you with some practical information. We also have to take some purely procedural decisions to ensure the proper functioning of the Assembly. Following a drawing of lots at the 13th meeting of the Bureau on 3rd of September 25, in accordance with the decision ICC-ASP/1/decision 4 of 3rd September 2002, the delegation of Gambia will take the first place to my right, with the other delegations following in the English alphabetical order. Each state party will be allocated 2 seats with microphones and 2 seats behind. The other delegates from state parties are invited to sit in the seats at the back of the room or at the balcony. For observer states, as well as other observers, participants and guests, in accordance with rules 92, 93 and 94 of the Rules of Procedure, seats are also reserved at the back of the room. NGOs are invited to take their seats in the gallery. Distinguished delegates, in accordance with Article 112, paragraph 1 of the Rome Statute, states that are not parties to the statute but have signed either the statute or the final act of the Rome Conference may participate as observers in the Assembly. Observer states are allowed to participate in the deliberations of the Assembly, but may not participate in the taking of decisions. Those states that are not parties to the Rome Statute and that have not signed the final act or the statute do not have observer status. Rule 94 of the Rules of Procedure provides that at the beginning of each session of the Assembly, the President may invite those states to be present during the work of the Assembly, subject to approval from the Assembly. I propose that the Assembly invite the following states which do not have observer status to be present during the Assembly's work: Bhutan, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Equatorial Guinea, Eswatini, Lao People's Democratic Republic, Lebanon, Mauritania, Federal States of Micronesia, Myanmar, Niue, Palau, Papua New Guinea, Rwanda, Somalia, South Sudan, Tonga, Turkmenistan, and Tuvalu. May I take it that the Assembly wishes to invite these states to be present during its work? I do not see any objection. It is so decided. As already mentioned, seating has been reserved for observer states and invited states. Seating has also been reserved for NGOs invited under Rule 93 of the Rules of Procedure. Distinguished delegates, the provisional agenda is contained in document ICC-ASP/24/1, and an annotated agenda is contained in document ICC-ASP/24/1/addition 1. May I take it that it is the wish of the Assembly to adopt the agenda as contained in document ICC-ASP/24/1? I see no objection. The agenda contained in document ICC-ASP/24/1 is adopted. Excellences, distingués délégués, j'ai l'honneur de faire rapport sur les activités menées par le Bureau de l'Assemblée cette année. Dans un souci de gain de temps, je me contenterai de souligner certains aspects contenus dans le rapport complet qui sera inclus dans le document officiel de cette session. Je tiens tout d'abord à exprimer ma gratitude envers les deux vice-présidents de l'Assemblée, l'ambassadeur Michael Imbrancanu du Sierra Leone et l'ambassadrice Margareta Kasangana de Pologne, pour leur travail en soutien au bureau et en tant que coordinateur du groupe de travail de New York et du groupe de travail de La Haye, respectivement. Je souhaite également exprimer ma gratitude pour le soutien apporté par le secrétariat au travail de la présidence du bureau et de ce groupe de travail, ainsi qu'à tous les titulaires de mandat à New York et à La Haye. Le recrutement du directeur du secrétariat avec l'aide d'un comité de recrutement a été un sujet important pour le bureau en 2025. La nouvelle directrice, Mme Gabrielle McIntyre, a pris ses fonctions en mai 2025. Je lui suis reconnaissante pour toute l'aide apportée durant ces premiers mois. Entre les sessions, le bureau a tenu 16 réunions pour aider l'Assemblée à s'acquitter de ses responsabilités en vertu du statut de Rome. En janvier 2025, le bureau a attribué à ces groupes de travail les mandats décidés lors de la 23e session de l'Assemblée et a nommé des facilitateurs et des points focaux pour 2025. Le bureau apprécie vivement le travail. Au cours du premier semestre de 2025, le bureau a été engagé dans les préparatifs de la session extraordinaire sur l'examen du crime d'agression tenu à New York du 7 au 9 juillet 2025. Le président du groupe de travail sur les amendements, l'ambassadeur Juan José Quintana de Colombie, a joué un rôle clé dans la préparation des bases pour les discussions lors de la session extraordinaire. Et je souhaite lui exprimer ma plus sincère reconnaissance pour les efforts qu'il a déployés afin de garantir que la session extraordinaire aboutisse à un consensus. Nous disposons désormais d'une feuille de route claire pour les discussions futures sur les questions importantes. The Bureau has regularly monitored the status of contributions to the budget of the Court and considered ways to better address the problem of outstanding contributions and arrears. In particular, the Bureau assigned the development of the criteria for the waiver of a loss of voting rights to the Budget Management Oversight Facilitation, noting the need to make progress on developing criteria. The Bureau recommended to the Assembly the granting of waivers to 5 states parties for the purpose of the special session. At its 16th meeting on 26 November 25, the Bureau recommended that the Assembly grant requests for waivers from the loss of voting rights to 1 state party at the 24th session of the Assembly, while recalling that the Budget Management Oversight has, throughout the intersessional period, worked on the development of agreed criteria for assessing such waivers in the future. I note that at this difficult moment for the Court, it is critically important that states parties pay their contributions as soon as possible. I would like to take this opportunity to express my appreciation to those states parties that have paid their assessed contributions to the 2026 budget in advance in response to the request made by the Registrar. I once more urge all states parties with outstanding contributions to make every effort to settle the outstanding balances as soon as possible. Throughout the intersessional period, the Bureau has been occupied with questions related to the investigations carried out by the Office of Internal Oversight Services, OIOS, into alleged misconduct by the prosecutor. As of today's date, the investigative fact-finding report is still pending, and the OIOS has consistently maintained that the investigation is a priority for it. At its 4th June 2025 meeting, the Bureau agreed on the establishment of an ad hoc panel of 3 external judges, each acting in a personal capacity. The panel will have an advisory role in relation to the Bureau and will focus on the legal characterization of facts in the OIOS report. The panel will operate independently, upholding due process, confidentiality, and integrity. I note that the decision of the Bureau to appoint a panel of legal experts to undertake legal characterization takes into account discussions on the recommendations of the facilitation, on the review of the operational mandate of the independent oversight mechanism, and the study group on governance, which, throughout the intersessional period, considered the implementation of the independent expert review recommendation R108. I'm well aware that states have been frustrated with the length of this process, but I must underscore due process is and must remain the paramount consideration in the conduct and the conclusion of these proceedings. States parties will be advised in due course of the next steps in the matter. It is the responsibility of the Assembly under Article 112, paragraph 2 of the Rome Statute to consider, pursuant to Article 87 of the Statute, any question relating to non-cooperation. As requested by the Assembly, I have engaged throughout the year actively and constructively with all relevant stakeholders in accordance with the Assembly procedures relating to non-cooperation. At this 13th meeting of 3rd September 25, the Bureau considered the 24th of July 25 decision of the Pretrial Chamber 1 regarding Hungary's non-cooperation in the situation of the State of Palestine. After hearing from Hungary's representative, the Bureau decided that the non-cooperation should be addressed at the 24th session of the Assembly. The Assembly decided at its 2024 session to include on the agenda of future sessions of the Assembly the consideration of non-cooperation issues arising during the intersessional period. The first special session on non-cooperation will have a particular focus on prevention of non-compliance through timely and effective consultations in accordance with Article 97. The protection of the Court, its officials and those cooperating with it remains a top priority for the Presidency and the Bureau. It is essential that the Assembly strive to protect the Court from attacks and ensure that it preserves its integrity, impartiality, and independence. The strategy adopted by the Bureau on 29th July 22 for responding to attacks against the Court, its officials and those cooperating with it was applied to confront attacks faced by the Court during the intersessional period in 2025. On 23rd January 25, the Bureau issued a statement in support of the independence and impartiality of the International Criminal Court and reiterated its commitment to uphold and defend the principles and values enshrined in the Rome Statute and to preserve its integrity undeterred by any threats or measures against the Court, its officials and those cooperating with it. I also issued personal invitation to the ministers of the 125 states parties to request their participation in the general debate of the Assembly And I'm extremely grateful to record the participation of, I believe it's 25 ministers and deputy and vice ministers today. Together, further to the guidelines for enhancing the security of participants in the regular sessions of the Assembly of States Parties and its side events, which were adopted by the Bureau on 4th October 23, I continue to consult with States Parties, the Court and civil society regarding possible further measures which could be undertaken. I encourage a continued dialogue to further reinforce the guidelines going forward. Universality is essential for the effectiveness and legitimacy of the Rome Statute system. Striving for universality is a shared responsibility of both the Court and the Assembly, and it is crucial for upholding international justice and accountability. In light of this, the Presidency of the Assembly, in consultation with the Court, has made continued efforts to enhance universality with the assistance of the ad hoc country focal points on universality, the Netherlands and the Republic of Korea, as well as civil society, in particular parliamentaries for global action. Our sincere gratitude goes to all involved in this important endeavour, as their dedication and commitment are vital to ensuring that the Rome Statute system remains robust, inclusive and impactful on the global stage. I wish to take this opportunity to welcome the newest member of the Rome Statute system, Ukraine. The Rome Statute entered into force for Ukraine on the 1st of January 25, representing a significant development towards universality. On behalf of the Assembly of the State Parties, I would like to congratulate Ukraine on this important step. Pour conclure ce rapport oral du Bureau, je tiens à exprimer une fois encore ma profonde gratitude au vice-président de l'Assemblée, aux membres du Bureau, aux facilitateurs et aux points focaux, ainsi qu'à l'ensemble de cette partie. J'adresse également ma profonde reconnaissance à nos partenaires inestimables de la société civile et au personnel dévoué de la Cour. Leur efforts constants, leur appui et leur engagement sont essentiels à la réussite de nos objectifs communs. L'année 2025 a été particulièrement difficile pour la Cour et le système du statut de Rome. Il est essentiel que nous demeurions solidaires de la Cour et de ses fonctionnaires. L'Assemblée de cette partie poursuit son action en faveur de la Cour et de la défense des principes et des valeurs consacrées par le statut de Rome, conscient que la justice internationale n'est pas seulement possible, elle est impérative. May I take it that it is the wish of the Assembly to take note of the oral report of the Bureau? I see no objections. It is so decided. The Assembly has thus concluded its consideration of Agenda Item 8. Distinguished delegates, we turn now to Agenda Item 9, Report of the Activities of the Court. The report is contained in document ICC-ASP/24/11. We are honoured to have the Presidency of the Court, a Deputy Prosecutor and the Registrar present today. On behalf of the Assembly, it gives me great pleasure to extend to them a warm welcome and assure them of the continuing support of the Assembly in the discharge of their respective responsibilities. I will invite the President of the Court, Judge Tomoko Akane, and Deputy Prosecutor Monsieur Mam Mandiamniang to address this plenary today. The Registrar, Mr. Osvaldo Zavala-Hilaire, will deliver remarks to the Assembly when we take up Agenda Item 12, consideration and adoption of the budget for the 24th financial year. I shall first give the floor to the President of the Court, Judge Tomoko Akane.